Hello, guys, and welcome to our bi-weekly live again. Hey, today my
Hey.
colleagues Maya and Patricia are joining me, just like usually, to speak about recruitment secrets. There are loads of them out there, and we want you to offer this chance to actually get into our day-to-day work, to see the insides and outsides, how we do things, what we do. So, in the past couple of weeks, we have been creating content around secrets in recruitment. For us, they are not secrets, but we have the feeling that for the people out there, for clients, for candidates, it might look a bit different. So, we're allowing everyone to look behind the scenes of our day to day work and, yeah, get a better understanding of what it's like to work with recruiters, to be a recruiter. So, yeah, welcome to today's live.
Welcome.
Hello.
To the program today, we will be looking back at the posts, social media posts here on LinkedIn from previous weeks, two for each of us. And then we have a guest, a special guest. Last week, this guest was also in our room, and it's no one other than the Chat GPT, who's going to put in some controversial ideas, theses out there for us to discuss that. So please join the conversation. If you have any questions, please do let us know. This whole setup today here is sponsored by the one and only Erzin. So a little shout out to him as well. But I would say, let's dive in, join the conversation.
Let's start.
All right, whose post do we have first today?
I think it's mine.
Whoa, tell us, what did you write
Yeah.
about and what was the fuss? Why the jeans?
Yes, exactly. So a pair of wrong pants could cost you your dream job. Believe it or not, but it's true. No, actually, the backstory of this is that I was preparing my candidate for an interview, for the first interview with my client. And usually we do prepare our candidates and we also ask, hey, what are you going to wear? What do you plan to wear? Oh, that's nice. And we go give our suggestions. And I had the situation that the candidate, he was feeling like the situation was weird. So I assume he was not expecting such a question, probably. And yeah, he was like thrown off, like why are you asking me this? But the thing is that there actually has been a story where a wrong, pair of pants has cost someone their dream job, maybe. Um, so yeah, it's the main idea is that all the little details matter, and your recruiter, they really do know about these things because they have seen it all. They have experienced much situations. And next time we're talking with your recruiter and they are asking you weird questions, don't be afraid. They are not weird. They are just aware of some scenarios that might not be maybe good for you, and as they are just willing to have only the best for you. So yeah, that was the backstory of me writing this post. Yeah. So what are your stories, with the little details that matter, with maybe with equally qualified candidates in an offer stage?
Mm. Yeah, interesting experience. I mean, I haven't had a bad experience yet, I would say. All of my candidates, like, they understand quite well that first impression counts, and the way you present yourself, especially in a professional environment, is really important. It shows that
Yeah.
you are motivated, it shows that you are really interested to leave a good impression, because of course it matters what you say, what you do, what your expertises are, but it also matters how you present yourself. If you come even through a Microsoft Teams video meeting, I mean, it doesn't take a lot for you to put on a okay shirt. Like, it doesn't have to be a smoking or something like that, but a proper shirt with buttons maybe, or a polo shirt in worst case, or I mean, it just has to be something that speaks like, hey, we are talking about professional environment here. We are talking about a potential new employer, and of course, it matters how you look like. So, I think candidates are aware of that in most cases, but it never hurts to point them into the right direction. And like you said,
To
Patricia,
double check.
there's a reason why we ask these things. There's a reason why we talk about these things. It's not like we are really interested in your wardrobe. It's just that we know that these things are also really important when speaking to an employer for the first time, especially.
Yeah, it is. It is
Looks
definitely.
like Maya, you have had like the real A players showing up there, being so professional. No, I love to hear that. My experience has been very mixed, and I think Corona and this whole situation around it has been a game changer, how people show up in job interviews. Because when everything went from face to face into environment that where you don't see the person really, it totally changed the game in terms of what people are wearing and how they present themselves. And I'm not a big fan of that. And always when I prepare all my candidates for the job interviews, I say, I know the times have changed. We are at home now. We want to be cozy. It is a job interview, but you have to dress up. And I mean, nothing has changed from the way it was before. It is a formal setup where you present yourself and want to leave a great first impression. And here, if there's one thing you take away, better be overdressed than underdressed. Because if you would be there in a suit and everyone else was in a t-shirt, I know it might feel awkward in the beginning, but it will send a signal to the person, I really thought about it. They really thought about it, because it is important for them how they present themselves.
Yeah.
The way how to be right about what to wear is look at the company's online presence, what they're wearing on Instagram, what they wear on LinkedIn, how they present themselves, and take that as a benchmark of what you would be wearing. I have seen people laying in bed vaping in a job interview. I have seen people having a totally, okay, messy background is another thing, but them having I don't know, not iron t-shirts. Some time ago this year, I had a really cool candidate that I loved from their professionalism, how they wear. They even asked me, hey, Lena, what do you think would be the best thing to wear? And I was like, hey, a nice shirt, nice clean trousers, something a bit more formal, business casual, and you're good to go. And they show up in the interview in their work pants, you know, like in the pants that you would be wearing when you are working somewhere in on a construction site, you know. And that's the first feedback that the client tells me. Everything was great, but this is a customer facing role. They will be facing customers on daily basis. They cannot show up in an outfit like this. And, you know, even though some things might seem like, yeah, I know this for a candidate when we prepare themselves, we never know what is that one thing that will stick with them, you know. And with this candidate, I was so sure, okay, they asked me this question, so they will show up with their A game on, you know, and have a nice outfit. And it was the total opposite. It was a disaster. And what you wrote in the post, like it might have cost them their dream job, I think it did. It literally did. So our job is to tell you, to guide you through these things, and to make sure that you really pay attention to the setup, light, sound, how you look like. And yeah, it's up to you what you do with it. But these tips are not there just to have you on a call just like that. It's really there because we know the company, what they put the values on, and these are the smallest things literally that you can shine with and leave a great impression. But
Precisely, I completely agree.
short story long, so moving on.
That was a great story. I love this story. It teaches a lot of things.
Yeah, definitely.
We all are so different. That's what's exciting about it, true. And sometimes sad, right? But yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Let's speed on to more secrets. So we're well dressed, hopefully. And
Oh yeah, ChatGPT. I
Oh
forgot we
yeah,
will have.
ChatGPT.
ChatGPT. Is it truly, truly ridiculous reason if one can't even comprehend what to wear for an interview? Yeah, it is a ridiculous reason.
Totally.
Sure, yeah. If you, for example, if you do imagine, like Liana said, for example, pre-corona time, if you do go to your interview on site somewhere in the office, I mean, you wouldn't wear construction pants. So it only makes sense that you shouldn't do this in a video interview, because interview is an interview. It doesn't matter what format it is. Is it on site? Is it
Precisely.
through a Microsoft Teams video? It's still a professional environment at the end of the day. And what you would wear going somewhere by someone in the office is exactly the same thing that you should be wearing even sitting in your house. So I think this time I do agree. It should be quite an easy thing to comprehend.
Definitely, yes. And you have to imagine that there can be the situation where there really is, a candidate that is also qualifying for the same role, but you are equally strong in your
Yeah.
qualifications. And these are the really, the smallest things that could impact the final decision of the hiring manager. So yes,
Mhm.
it definitely is an easily, how you say, comprehensible
Mhm.
thing to do,
Yeah, true.
for sure.
So true. Okay,
Yeah,
Okay.
cool.
let's move on to the secret number 2. It looks like it's one of mine. All right. So what I was talking about here is CVs. A small thing makes a big difference. And the topic was really taken from one of my clients, just quoting them here. This candidate is not 100% what we're looking for, but let's give it a try and have an
Mm.
interview. And I'm truly a big fan of companies and hiring managers who are open to non-conventional backgrounds and skill sets, because let's
Oh,
keep
yeah.
in mind, we are recruiters. We know how a great CV should look like, what we pay attention to, what not. But for someone who is not dealing with CVs on daily basis, they have a different understanding about it. And I know a lot of recruitment companies, when they receive the CV from the candidate, they like to change it. They're adding their branding. They're doing different kind of things. And I know previously in one of my first companies, we anonymized the CV, so took out all the contact details and stuff like that, so that no one can see where they work and how to contact them, and tuned up some things, which is something we don't do at Smartist. Like the CV the candidate sends to us is what the hiring manager is getting. And what I tell here in the post is also that there is no perfect candidate on the paper. You have to see them, you have to speak with them, because a great IT specialist is not going to be a great CV writer. And yeah, for us it's important to present our candidates the way they are, the way they want to be presented. So it's great that companies are open to speaking with people and then seeing what's hiding behind the titles and the duties that they're currently having. Because maybe not many of you know, but in recruitment, we do have a saying that the best candidate is not the one that is best on the paper, but the one that's the most committed, the one that's motivated, that's eager to learn and believes in themselves. And speaking from experience, they are the ones getting the jobs compared to the ones that have the perfect CV and maybe all the degrees relevant. So it was nice to see that this post got over 4.2 thousand impressions,
Oh, wow.
55 likes, 6 comments, and even a repost. And it was nice to see that HR managers were the ones joining the conversation and saying, yeah, let's keep biases aside. Let's be more open towards what we are looking for and how we process the CVs that we receive. Because another thing another post that I wrote a couple of weeks ago was about the fact that not all companies receive hundreds of applications. Some of them literally receive none or just a few. So even then it's more important to pay attention to the insights.
Mhm.
What do you think about it, guys, as recruiters?
Sure, definitely agree that there's rarely a candidate that fits the qualifications of a job description 100%. It's a very, very, very rare occasion when that happens. So, of course, I mean, that's sometimes the candidates are also discouraged in the sense that they, for example, they read the job description that is on the company's website, and they say, yeah, I mean, I'm not meeting all the requirements. I can do some of the things, I can do most of the things in some cases, but I cannot do it all. So my resume reflects that. And that's where I, for example, as a recruiter, encourage them, saying that, hey, like, it's very rare that someone meets the requirements 100%. If you feel like this role still is interesting for you, and you, I mean, every one of us starting a new job, we learn things on the go. If you are ready to learn, if you are committed, if you are motivated, don't worry. I mean, you can still take the step. You can still show some initiative and apply. And if you do meet, like, even especially like the most required things, like there's always some things that are absolutely necessary, and then there are some soft skills that it's good to have, but it's not necessarily a must that you have them. So definitely agree. Don't be scared if you do not fit the role 100%. Your resume is definitely something that you should be putting focus on, and maybe tailor your resume more to this role that you want to apply to, so it does reflect these things that you do have. And the rest, it's very, very possible that a company will be as flexible as anyone else, and will say, yeah, sure, I mean, you can start with what you got, and the rest we will teach you. So that's also a good thing, I think.
Precisely, yes, yes. Well, I actually have had numerous situations where I have presented candidates to my client, and one candidate is good on paper, the other one maybe is not that good. At least it seemed to be like that. And when I try to convince the hiring manager, hey, but look, the more less qualified person, they have a great personality, they show a ton of motivation to join your team, and they are really interested in what you are doing, please, talk to them. I often have received the answer no at first, but then being persistent, and as a recruiter should be, I have had countless situations where, yes, they do agree to talk to the person, and at the end of the day, they say thank you, because they actually do hire the person that was lesser qualified on paper. But yeah, here again, the topic about motivation and all that is very meaningful in such processes.
Yeah, it truly is. Nice. Cool. So hear your experiences, guys. Coming back to what you, Maya, said, like, if you don't fit the role 100%, my take on this would be, if you fit the role 100%, don't apply. You would be totally bored in that job. Like, if you fit like 60 to 70%, it's already a good thing to go for an application, and the rest can be thought if you're interested. I have to here agree with Patricia that as a recruiters, we know the other side of the candidate because we spoke with them, the personality, the motivation, which is hard sometimes to transfer to the hiring manager because they just see the CV. Of course, we tell them how great they are in person, but to convince them to actually try and speak with this person to get a different impression, I think that's the essence of a recruiter, and that's when we are the ones that come in the game and show them a different way of hiring. And yeah, from my experience speaking, literally the candidates that were not the best on the paper, they were the greatest in the job, and the ones that you can see as the long-term people working for the company, like the company ambassadors. But all right. What does our dear guest ChatGPT has to say about this topic? It looks like recruiters prefer smooth talkers over truly skilled people. That's not true. It's the combination that makes it great, in my opinion. You can have the greatest skill set. If you don't know how to sell it and present yourself, it's not going to be the best. So it really is the combination of both, in my opinion. What do you girls think about it?
100% combination of the two.
Agree. Yeah, absolutely.
Alrighty then. We have quite a few posts to go. So secret number 3. What is it?
Secret number 3. Continuing the theme of resumes.
Let's go.
So when we do receive a resume, we as recruiters, we see so many resumes, we deal with them every single day, and we scan them quite quickly. So it doesn't take a long time for us to understand if the resume or the person is fitting for the role. So I wrote about it takes about like 10 seconds to realize if the person could be good for the job. And in most cases, that's true. And the reason for that is keywords. So they are especially working in IT environment. For example, when I'm looking for a React developer, for example, then of course, receiving a resume, I'm going to be looking for the word React. If I don't see it anywhere, then I will.
You should react.
I should react myself. Exactly. So these are the things. So keywords matter. So for any role that you apply, especially in the IT field, there are usually some technologies that the company is working with that they truly need from the person. So these are the technologies I will be looking in your resume. If I do not see them, then of course, I'm not going to be throwing the CV away right away. I will ask the person, hey, maybe you do have experience with these technologies. And in some cases, they will say, yeah, I do. And then what I do is I ask them, can you please upgrade your resume? Can you please highlight these technologies so that the client seeing your resume for the first time, just like me, sees these things, that you do have them, that you do have knowledge with them. And that's what matters. So the essence of it all is you have to tailor your CV to the position you are applying for, which is the reason why we say one shoe doesn't fit all in recruitment. So one resume does not fit for every single position out there. So keywords do matter. If you are a recruiter, if you are a IT specialist, you know that it all revolves around the things the company is looking for. And when, just like Liana said previously, we don't do anything with the resumes we are getting. So that's the resume that we get. That's the resume we show to the hiring manager. And if it doesn't go through my eyes as fitting, then it will not go through the hiring manager's eyes as fitting as well. So that's what I was more focused on writing this post. What is your experience, girls, with dealing with resumes? How quickly do you scan them? Do you scan them? Are you looking for keywords?
Of course. No, of course. So I'm looking for keywords as well. Talking about keywords, if we're talking about technical positions, I'm probably drifting a little bit off of the topic, but what I also like to have, and I know what hiring managers also appreciate, is under each of your work experiences highlighting the keywords in terms of the tech stack that you're having. If we're talking about IT positions, that also helps, because yes, the hiring manager, the first thing that he will see is not you as a person, not your motivation, not anything of this, but really the keywords on your CV. And this is going to be the first filter of them making the decision whether or not to invite you to an interview.
Great tip. Yeah.
I mean, in case you as a candidate are thinking what keywords to use, the best helping hand here is the job description, the job advertisement you have received. So all the necessary keywords are there. So you can take those ones and add the wording or direct like phrases into your CV, because the reason why it's important, because I know a lot of people think like, yeah, it's so much work and why should I like tailor my CV to each and every role? you never know who is the first person screening the CV. You all might think it's the manager, let's say the IT manager in our case. Okay, they know all the skill set, the technologies, so they will quickly scan through and be like, okay, yes or no. But very often, the first person that actually sees your CV is the HR manager, and they have no idea about technology. So what they do is the same thing. They take the job description, they see the keywords over there, they compare
Yes.
your CV with the job description. Okay, didn't find the necessary keywords. Looks like this candidate is not suitable. Rejection pile. So this is how it works. So that's why it takes definitely, so it gives you an advantage if you tailor your CV to each and every role, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it
Yeah,
doesn't take so much time to tailor your CV. Like, for example,
not at all.
the amazing tip that Patricia gave, like under each station that you have had, or under each employment that you have had, just write
Mm,
under skills, like highlight the skills that you have, like what technologies did you use in that role, working there for one,
mm,
2, 3, 5 years, like what were the technologies. This will help immensely. This will eliminate the questions that the HR manager might have or someone else might have. This will answer this
mm.
really important question quickly and efficiently.
Yes.
Absolutely. In case
Mhm.
you guys need a CV template, we have a great one developed internally that, in most of the cases, gets you a first job interview. Feel free to reach out to any one of us, and we will happily supply you with this template, which is exactly the
Absolutely.
way that Patricia and Maya just described. But yeah,
Exactly.
great stuff. From
Yeah.
CVs, moving on to ChatGPT. What do they think about it?
Well, recruiters scan lifetimes in seconds but demand tailored resumes. Isn't that hypocrisy? No, I don't know. I would say no. I mean, it's not that we are scanning your life experiences in seconds. We are scanning the keywords that will help you get the job. So that's a bit something else, I think.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This one is funny.
So funny. I think what people do need to keep in mind, I guess it's something I already mentioned as well, as a recruiters, like these seconds turn into minutes, sometimes even like 15 minutes, where we go through your CV and think for ourselves what could be the things that you could add in order for you to secure the first
Mm.
interview. And really, the companies that have 2 or 3 seconds to scan your CV are the big giant companies, where literally, if they post a job, everyone would apply for. But in most situations, in small and mid-sized companies, it's really the opposite. They receive you, like, for the one role that they have open, maybe 1, 2 qualified applications. The rest is not qualified for the role as well. And then they go through and try to see between the lines, if they would want to invite you for an interview or no. So you
Mm.
keep this in mind as well. And recruiters have the best interests in the head for you so that you get this interview. So that's why
Yeah.
all the stress with tailored CVs.
Yeah. No, that's true.
All right. Secret
All
number
right.
4. Who has that one?
Secret number 4. I think it's me.
Oh, look at
Love
you.
the picture.
That's a great photo. What is it about?
Yeah. So spilling the beans, talking about various red flags in companies. Yeah, and the red flags, it really depends. It can be from the job description, from recruiter messaging you, from the time where you are at an interview, how many interviews you get. So there are really a lot of red flags that you can pay attention to. I think I think this one's popular, but this is my personal worst one when someone says we're like a family here. Well, this is like
Uh,
a top like red flag number 1 for me, because that usually indicates that there is no really like a professional environment, not maybe that much space, or you are expected to go to numerous meetings with your colleagues. But what if you want to keep your relationships with your colleagues professional?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's always tricky. Oh yeah, you have thousands of interview stages. I have actually been in this situation myself, where I have had many interview stages, and at first you maybe do not think much of it, but the more you have a thought about it, the more you realize, okay, why? What is the background? So the main idea is to question everything, because you want to find your job where you are happy, in the long run. So it's important to watch out for many things. Or what I also like is when someone says during the interview, we wear many hats. So what does that actually mean? That means that the staff is probably underqualified, and you will be expected to do many tasks, working overtime, have no work-life balance, no private time, nothing at all. So yeah, there are a lot of red flags that you can definitely look out for. Yeah, I'm interested. What is your experience from, in terms of red flags? Maybe you have some personal experiences as well.
Mhm. I don't know how to call this, but sometimes there are hints thrown that there's no real onboarding happening. So basically, you are just thrown into your tasks. Many different companies name this in many different ways. So, like, I don't know if maybe fast-paced environment could be one of them, but at the top of my head, I'm forgetting what the things, what are they calling these things? But there are some suggestions that make you think that if you can work really without any help, if you don't need any help when you start to work, basically it just gives the sense that you will be thrown into the work and you're going to be learning yourself. Nobody's really going to mentor
working.
you. Individual working, yeah, that could be one of them. Exactly. So it's basically means that you will be beginning this work with no mentoring happening, no onboarding period whatsoever, and this is a big turnoff for a lot of candidates. I know that a lot of candidates have maybe they are now in their onboarding phase that's non-existent, and this is the reason why they want to switch, just because they understand if there's no support for them in the beginning, what's next to come. So that could be one of the things.
Yes, absolutely. The opposite as well, micromanagement. If working individual is also not maybe having that support you should require, micromanagement is also absolutely the worst. What do you think, how it could be, said in an interview? How could you try to acknowledge this red flag of micromanagement? Because I think, a lot of people are trying to avoid this as well.
It might be like maybe behind like some KPIs or so. Like that's would be the first thing that I would think as a red flag. But for me personally, I think it's so individual. Like it depends what you are looking for and what you are as a person. I would personally see super long job descriptions as a red flag of like you said, Patricia, someone that would need to wear like multiple hats, Very often the company size also and the amount of the company size, the amount of employees, the company size tells a lot about the environment, because in bigger companies, I think the structure is there, so you know where you stand, what is there to achieve, who is responsible for what. Whereas in startup environment, you would very often, have this feeling of wearing many hats, no direct responsibilities, or the lines between responsibilities of two people or multiple are quite blurry. So those would be the red flags for me. But what's a red flag for one might not be a red flag for the other one. But I would agree with the ones that you mentioned in the post. So I think everyone needs to see for themselves and also address all the red flags that they might have in the interview. Yeah, by asking really open questions. I have the feeling of this and that. How is this organized? How is it controlled? How long does this and that take to give you the feeling of, okay, it's not going to be a red flag, or whoa, this is bigger than I thought. So
exactly.
And again, this could be one of the exactly, like, again, one shoe doesn't fit all. Like many like candidates are different, companies are different as well. Just because it's a startup doesn't mean there's no structure there. Vice versa, just because it's a big company doesn't mean that the structure is perfect and the hierarchy is there as it should be. So exactly, just like Liana said, ask these questions, like all the things that should be important to you, ask them in your interview. That's what the interviews are there for you to find out if this is a company for you, if this is a place for you. And there's no better time to indulge yourself in finding out the answers that you should be looking for, instead of finding this out on your onboarding phase.
Yeah, and there are no silly questions. As long as they are important for you, they are not silly. So go on.
I also like the job descriptions where companies state their benefits as, like, snacks, or I don't know what else it could be, snacks or hybrid working model, because this is something very natural nowadays. And that indicates, for me personally, if a company decides to put these benefits on their job description, that just simply means that there are no better benefits.
No real benefits other, free coffee.
So,
we have a kitchen.
Free coffee. We have a kitchen.
But
we have free coffee.
What's self-explanatory for one might be an extra for another one. I mean, I would love like snacks if I would go in the office, or have Obstkorb, so like a bowl of fruits. Big sucker for fruits, and so, but it's so individual, and I think this. Yeah, hey, what is this? What is that? And the other company is something that people, like to sometimes make fun of or see as a red flag, but might be a cool thing for other ones. But I really like this topic, so it's a cool thing.
Okay, let's see what our beloved friend ChatGPT is gonna say. Recruiters are quick to point out red flags, but shouldn't they be more focused on helping companies resolve their red flags? I mean, absolutely. I mean, absolutely. Of course, as a recruiter, I mean, that's, to me, that's standard policy. Consult also the companies, what is attractive, what could be a red flag here, considered, like, generally speaking. So for sure. The question is, do the hiring managers or the companies hear, what we are saying? That's another thing.
True.
Yeah, it depends on also the service that they have bought from recruiters, because we cannot also forget that sometimes they just want CVs. Sometimes they just want really like consultancy about the process that they are having in place, how good it is, how bad it is. So it really depends. But I think we are quite in a lucky situation that companies that we work together with are open to discuss what their process is like, are open to hear best practices and implement them. So I agree here with dear friend ChatGPT. Okay, then on to secret number 5, right? So the last two that are left there. And let's talk about money. Thing that everyone is talking about, but some people talk about it more reserved. Some people talk about it very openly, have their numbers in their head and just spill them out. I use this post to tell the truth. So just to put it out there, that recruiters are here for you when it comes to negotiating your next best salary. So if you're a candidate looking for your next job, have some salary expectation in your mind, speak about it with the recruiters. We speak with the companies. We know what their budgets are. On daily basis, we speak with numerous clients and candidates and know what the market is like, what the industry offers, what different size of companies offer, the region, everything. And we can consult you about what would be the best salary, depending on what the budget is, what the company offers. So my message is here: be open with recruiters. We are here to help you. We are here to get the best deal out for you. As long as you are in the same boat with us, we're going to be helping you. So it's not our aim to cut your salary, to give you the worst benefits just for the sake of you changing jobs. Not at all. If you face a recruiter like this, turn around, leave, and never look back. So this is the message that I wanted to send here. Yeah, so in my opinion, changing jobs means upgrading for better life instead for worse. So we are here to help you. That's the main message. So the next time when you speak with a recruiter, keep that in mind. We're here for you. We're not against you. And yeah, so this post was gaining 1,600 impressions, 13 likes, 2 comments. But I just wanted to tell that because very often you hear some candidates being very shy. Oh, I don't think I want to discuss it. This is the time, this is the place when you speak with a recruiter to discuss it. And together we will find the best solution, the best realistic salary to go with, so that you can improve your life for better. That's the message.
Yes, absolutely.
What do you think,
I
guys?
agree with that.
Have
Yeah,
you
I
had some
agree
candidates
because
that don't share their salaries or are reserved about it? How have you experienced it?
lots of times. Yes, for sure. I mean, what I think is important to understand that also the recruiter is going to be able to give you insights on how competitive your salary expectations are currently on the market, like what is actually realistic. And yeah, so I often also say if I see that a candidate is having lower salary expectations that I actually should have according to their qualifications, I will say, hey, but I think we could go actually for, I don't know, 10 grand more, let's say, just for instance.
Thousands of
they're like,
situations where
oh,
this has happened.
yeah, absolutely. And vice versa. If there is someone who has very high salary expectations, but we just know that currently on the market we can find like similar candidates with similar qualifications with much like lower salary expectations. But if you really want this job and if you're attracted to this opportunity, then you should also lower your salary expectations. Yeah, as long as they do not go much below your actual annual salary, I would say. But it also depends here. So yeah, interesting topic, definitely.
Yeah.
So
That's
true.
For some candidates, they have openly also said that, hey, salary is not the most important thing for me. And they do agree that if you do change jobs, just like Liana said, there should be an upgrade somewhere. It doesn't necessarily always have to be salary. Like some people are quite happy with the salary they make, or even are willing to like earn for example, 100 or 200 euros per month less if they would be happy in their everyday life. So work does make a lot of difference for many people in their personal lives as well. And if the person is really unhappy doing what they're doing, or the company culture is just horrible and toxic, they may be open to having a little bit smaller salary in the future if it means that they would have, for example, the option to work from home or more vacation days or some other benefits. So this is why the reason is really valid here. So speak openly about the salary, the reasons why you want the salary to be as it is. And just like Patricia said, it's really interesting to see and hear the candidates explaining the reasoning for their salaries as they are. For example, some candidates, just like you said, Patricia, have like so high standard for their salary. They want to have, I don't know, 20,000 per year more than some other person who has exactly the same qualifications, exactly the same experiences. And I mean, sure, it's okay that you have a number in your head that you would like to be at some point in your life, but there's also has to be like a good argumentation behind this number. So it cannot be just, I mean, sure, I would like to earn 1 million a year. It doesn't mean that I'm ready for this now. That doesn't mean that I can offer something that I don't know, to be able to earn this kind of money. But yeah, just like Lena said, if there is a place and time to speak about the salary, it's when you're speaking with your recruiter, because at the end of the day, we do have your best interest at heart.
Yes, that is very, very true.
True. Yeah, I have noticed also that it's generation thing. Like younger generations, they tend to ask for higher salaries, whereas they have maybe like less experience. Whereas like older generations, they have but lower salary expectations and more experience. So it's very different and interesting. In case you're asking yourself, I'm changing jobs right now, what would be a good next salary to ask for? So 10-15% more is always a good and safe thing to go with. But yeah, as the girls discussed, benefits are also there that can complement the salary and make a big difference. So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What does chat say about it? Are they money driven, not money driven? Recruiters claim to be our champions in salary negotiations, but isn't it true that they're mostly advocating for the companies that pay their bills? Some might do. I don't know. Some might do, but I would say no. Can you show again the quote of ChatGPT so that we have it for longer with us? Is that possible, Erzen?
Yeah, I mean, interesting quote.
Isn't true that they're mostly advocating for the companies that pay their bills? No, I wouldn't say that.
What is even meant by this?
Yeah, good question. Paying their bills. I mean, you work together with companies or clients that are committed to hire people, so you would advocate for the ones that are really serious about hiring, and you would advocate less about the companies that are not so serious with hiring or not have that urgency. That's how I would put it. But when it comes to paying the bills,
I mean, of course, at the end of the day, both sides have to be happy, right? I mean, the candidate has to be happy in the company as well. I mean, you cannot really just satisfy one side. If it's meant like that, then it's not true. We are always finding the middle way so that both sides are happy with the deal that's been made.
At least that's the smartest theory. Yeah. How we see it. All right. Let's move on to the last but not least of all the recruitment secrets. Oh, there are so many more, but number 6 coming up right now. Maya, what's it about?
I love this picture.
It's like, I don't know, just so you guys know, we do choose our posts randomly, each like individually, and today somehow my posts are mirroring Lena's post, which is really interesting. So we just spoke about money, right? And this is my version of continuing this topic. So when we speak with candidates, one of the first questions we always ask is, what's your motivation for changing your job? And this is a really big deciding factor that it really matters to us, so that we can figure out if you are truly a committed candidate. And some candidates, not often, but sometimes, say that, yeah, basically they're really happy in their role. Everything is fine. The company is great. The colleagues are wonderful. The job that they're doing makes them happy. The only thing that's missing is they would like a bit higher salary. Why is this, or why could this not be a good thing? So basically, this means, speaking quite openly, there are secrets. It can mean that you could be a fallout or a dropout candidate in our eyes, just because when we, for example, do go through the whole interview process with a company and you decide, yeah, hey, this is like, I could earn a bit more here. Yeah, great, I'll take the offer. Then you go to your manager in your company and say, hey, I'm leaving. So what often happens is that they don't want to let you go, and they will give you a counter offer offering more money, just like you wanted. And in more cases than not, you would be more inclined to stay. Why? Because it's less work, it's less stressful, it's more comfortable. And just like you said yourself, you're happy with everything. Everything is great. The only thing that you wanted is more money, and now they're giving it to you. So there's no other motivations to switch. This is the reason why if you do give off money as the whole sole reason for wanting to switch jobs, if there's an other candidate who has like motivation, for example, that he wants to be able to grow professionally, and at the place where he's working now it's not possible anymore, or he has a toxic work culture, or the management is really, really bad. To be quite honest, that motivation to me says that he is more ready to switch jobs than just single money factor. That was my point with the post, and I think you guys would agree in this case. But
Yes.
I'm interested in hearing your thoughts.
No, absolutely. I agree, definitely, because I actually have had this situation myself where it was not obvious at first, but throughout the recruitment process, I actually realized that a candidate was using me because he was this smart, using me to get an offer just to have a counter offer then at his current employer. It was not obvious because he was actually saying, oh yeah, I want this and that, apart from money. But of course he did mention the money part, but yeah, lost myself just what I wanted to say.
I think that's a good point, but Patricia, because here our job as recruiters is to minimize the risk that a counter offer can happen. So if we are speaking with a candidate and they say, yeah, my motivation is money, then for me it's always, of course, it is an alarm signal at first, because then I think of a counter offer and then I openly discuss, hey, I have had this situation previously. Candidate receives a contract, more salary. They go to their employer and they're like, oh, we give you a bit more, just stay. Candidate is happy. Karma points for me. I changed their life for better, but my client is still without a suitable candidate. So here it is important that we speak about it very openly. What happens if you go now to your manager, speak with them? If they offer you more money, would you stay? Have you talked to them? Like, so that to see what actions they have taken. And if they have talked to their manager, there's no chance to get more money. Okay, I'm happy with the money motivation personally, because money is the return that we get for going to work and doing our job. I don't think many people would work for free if they would not receive money. So here, money is motivation enough for me, as long as it's argumented in a very nice manner. So that's how I personally would see it, and then question around as a recruiter myself to make sure that I minimize my risks when I go further with such a candidate, and always challenge them at each and every stage with the salary question.
Yeah.
So that's how.
And a great tip I would give to candidates, for example, I mean, yeah, okay, you want to earn more money, that's a totally valid thing. But just to save time for you and me, you can just try to go to your manager and express that, hey, this is my wish. I would like these are my reasonings why I would like to earn more money. And if this is not possible, or in the time frame that you maybe give them, if this is not possible, then you just openly tell them then that maybe you will be open to work for, or maybe you will be applying somewhere else, and see what they say. This is maybe how you could save yourself some time as well, like going through the interviews. Like, for example, some companies have so many interview stages. You would be doing this for a month or two just to receive a counter offer and a bigger salary that you always wished for. So what you can do is go to your to your manager right now and express that you have a wish to receive more money. And if you do want some tips or tricks how to ask for a promotion the right way, I'm sure you can find a post or two on each of our pages where we do explain these things as well.
And I think what to keep in mind is also now with all the inflation, I mean, money topic is great. We could talk about it for hours, but with inflation, not every company is giving this Inflationsausgleich, so that they give you the amount of, how to say, like the inflation that is now towards your salary. So we will hear the adjustment. Yeah, we will hear money coming up as one of the most important reasons for a job change, I think, more often. That's at least the feeling that, that at least how I'm sensing it right now. But yeah, what does chat say about it? What is their take?
Well, so recruiters push for growth and learning, but aren't higher salaries a valid motivation too? I mean, that's just what we just discussed. Yeah, I mean, sure, money is a valid reason. And just like Liana said, as long as it's argumented the right way. That's the whole essence of it, I think.
Money makes the world go round. So true.
Yeah.
The good thing is we will continue with recruitment secrets. So if you like this one, give us thumbs up in all the platforms. And after 2 weeks, we will continue this topic because there is so much to talk about, and I'm sure you would like to hear more about it. So keep following us. The event is going to come up in 2 weeks again, and it would be great to see you all around so that we can continue the conversation. If there is something specific you would like us to talk about, please do let us know. We're very open and happy towards different kind of topics. So yeah, it was great talking to you guys today to hear your stories, your experiences, and let's continue this conversation in 2 weeks.
Let's continue.
Definitely. Thank you guys for joining.
Great. Happy Wednesday and happy public holiday tomorrow.
Wednesday.